Season 2, Episode 2. I'm having an incredible time. I think we've recorded 8 or 9 different episodes for this season, and each one is fantastic. Are you having fun?
I'm always having fun.
Today is a transplant into the Rockland area. He's been here, Rockland, California. He's been here, I think, going on 25 plus years. And he's going to talk a lot about the local area. Did you learn anything?
Oh, of course I did. I got a little sneak peek into the Rockland community, which was really cool. The basketball team, to where to eat, to where to golf, and name dropped a couple of people that I definitely don't know, but learning more and more. It was really cool to get just a perspective into the community.
Yeah, and I love it. And this is what we set out to do. We're learning about the different people within our community, how they're influencing others, and just a lot of really good stories that are coming out of it.
There's stories all around us. Welcome to Tell Us Your Story, the podcast that tells the diverse stories of businesses, leaders, and influencers throughout Northern California. Our mission is to ignite inspiration, foster education, and bring our community together. Join us as we unravel the path to achievement, discovering how these remarkable businesses and leaders navigated obstacles, conquered hardships, and transformed failures into success.
In this episode, we sit down with John Kostecki, Director of Product Strategy at Oracle. There's 3 key areas that you want to listen into today. John's love story with his wife, Susan. It's an incredible story. There's some laughs along the way, and I encourage everybody who's listening to go and ask each of them the truth, because I don't know that we got all of it. And then John's been with Oracle for over 25 years. The foundation for his success is saying yes to opportunity. So he's going to walk us through that, what that means to him, and how he's navigated multiple positions throughout his career. And then community and family is key. He's going to walk you through some of the community in Rockland, the areas that he visits, and really talk about his family. So sit back, listen in, and enjoy this episode of Tell Us Your Story.
I am 59 years old. I'm married with 4 children. I grew up in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Lived there until I was 25, and then moved to California in 1990.
Interesting.
So there's a lot there, yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot there. So 4 kids, and you've been married for how long?
I've been married, math is 32 years.
32 years, put him right on the spot.
But I've known my wife since I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we started dating when I was 15.
So there was a break in there for a little bit, or no?
Wow, that's pretty perceptive. Wow.
I
just doing the math.
Did my wife talk to you?
No.
There was a break. Well, we dated throughout high school. I'm a year older school wise than my wife, 6 months to the day, age wise. And let's see, we dated all through high school, basically through college. We went to different colleges. I went to school in Boston. She went to school in Syracuse, New York. But we dated all through that. When I graduated, I was out, and it was maybe like a year or so after I graduated, we took a break. And I say we, it was probably me who forced the break. It was. I still hear it to this day. But it was one of those things, when you're with someone for that long, and it was like, if I really going to know, how am I going to know? That kind of thing for me. And it was like, it wasn't so much her or anything she did. It was just, I needed to be maybe without a girlfriend for a bit and just see what that's like. Right.
Would you give that advice to other people at that age group of?
I mean, I kind of would, because I think I would.
I would too.
But I wouldn't dissuade, it's not that I would dissuade people, but I think you need to be apart for some time as well, especially when you're dating when you're 15 years old. What do you know at that point,
Yeah.
But it was a good thing, because after a year and a half or whatever it was of
figured it out.
Not dating, I kind of knew what I wanted, and she was the one for me. So
she was the one. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully I don't get you in too much trouble there.
No.
So let's talk a little bit about where you grew up. So you grew up in Buffalo, New York.
Grew up in Buffalo, New York.
How many kids in the family? So, mom and dad?
Yeah, mom and dad, typical, family life, mom and dad. Parents are, my mom just passed about just this past June, but my parents were married for over 60 years. And I have 4 other sisters. I'm the second oldest. of 5.
So busy house.
You're the only boy?
Only boy.
Oh.
Yeah. One older sister who taught me a lot, and 3 younger ones. And we're all super close. Great. Love my sisters.
And they all still in New York, or are they spread out?
I have one. My oldest sister is here. She moved to California just over 20 years ago for a job, and she's now retired. But my other 3 sisters live in Buffalo.
And you go back and forth a lot?
It's pretty much once a year now during the summertime we go, because my wife, we dated since we were 15. She's from there too. She has her family, a lot of her family there as well. So we go back once a year. We used to go back a couple times a year when the kids were real little, and then it just got too busy and too expensive to go twice a year. So we cut out the wintertime in Buffalo.
And so I've been I've been into the city of New York a couple of times, so I haven't been anywhere else. So do you love New York? Is it one of those things that when you think of New York, is it?
I mean, New York City and Buffalo are kind of 2 different worlds, right? They're about 6.5 hours apart. It's kind of like Northern Cal, Southern Cal kind of thing. Wow. New York as a state, it's New York City, and then everything else, if you're a New Yorker, is upstate. It doesn't matter if you're, in Albany, Westchester, it's upstate, right? But for us, we call ourselves Western New York. I'd say Buffalo's more Midwest than it is New York City. Yeah, in terms of just the way, the vibe, the people, that kind of thing. So
yeah, interesting if you're not from there, that's what I think of the city.
Totally opposite end of the state. But it's a great place to grow up. I love being from Buffalo. In some ways, I still call it home in a sense, because that's where I'm from.
That's where you grew up.
Where I grew up. Yeah.
So any plans to ever move back, or is California now your home?
California's home. We've kicked it around and we've talked about it for 30 years. For me, it was, I'm going to go to California for a year when I moved. Yeah, check it out for a year and then I'll be back or whatever. And I've said it's been a long year, that I've been here, but we still love going back to visit our families and things. And who knows? Never say never.
Yeah.
But my wife doesn't like cold. So.
Yeah. California weather, you can't beat.
Never full time. I don't think we'd live there full time now.
We'll definitely have to get to the decision to move. But how, growing up, what type of person were you? Young John, type of kid, young adult?
I was a good kid. Did well in school, decent in school. I loved to do other activities, sports and stuff. I primarily, being from Buffalo. I played hockey as a kid growing up, and that's pretty much what I did for, from the time I was 8 years old until I was 16, 17 through high school. Just did a lot with our families. My dad was really big into sailing, so we did a lot of sailing in the summertime on Lake Erie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, had a cottage in Canada for the summer, so I spent a lot of my summers as a kid growing up in Canada.
So it sounds like really active and...
Active, just a great family life. My dad was a doctor, and so he was super busy. My mom kind of ran everything and took care of us and shuttled us to our activities, me with hockey, whether it was road trips, traveling, or whatever, because I did primarily travel, so we were busy with that. And then my sisters were all into, whether it was softball or they did, dancing and things. So she was very busy.
Yeah, I can see the some of the image of the traditional American family.
Exactly. It was pretty much like that. Yeah.
So as you're going through, middle school, high school, you said you're a good kid, good academically. Any trouble, any hiccups along the way? No gotcha questions. Just curious.
No,
I didn't really have, other than just stupid kid stuff, whatever, whether it was, I don't know, just goofing around with the guys or, stealing beers when we were in high school or whatever that kind of thing was, but never anything that was really bad in a sense or major. Yeah.
And so what were your aspirations or goals? Let's go to high school. So we know you're dating. You have a steady girlfriend the whole time.
Yeah. After my freshman year, my wife and I dated. So, there was a lot of time we spent together, obviously, but I went to a Catholic all-boys high school, and my wife went to a Catholic all-girls. Oh. So, it was great. Kind of had that time. So, even though we dated and we were with each other a lot, when I went to school, I was with all my buddies and all these guys, and it was kind of like a big fraternity in a sense. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Like I said, played hockey throughout. That was my passion. I love doing it. Still love doing it. And then, outside of just the family activities, it was a pretty normal high school experience.
And then what did you want to do after high school? Did you know what you wanted to do for a career?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it was one of those things where, and I almost think a lot of people, you're exposed based, and you think this is what I want to do based on what your parents do, right? So my dad being a doctor, naturally, it was like, only son.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, the doctor is going to come up.
He's going to be, right? I should go into medicine. And that's, what I thought, but it wasn't like I had a strong feeling one way or the other. It was just, I don't really know anything else, right?
Was college a for sure, though?
College for sure was a thing.
Go to school.
Yeah, for sure. My parents stressed, education and college. My sister went off. In fact, I went to the same university as my older sister. Boston University, and there was no doubt about college. Yeah, it was just kind of where I had hoped maybe to play hockey, but then I ended up not doing it and decided, I went to school at a bigger school in Boston University, and that wasn't in the picture for me. So,
and what were you studying when you went to?
So I went there as a biology major, again thinking I would go into medicine, but after about a year or so. I don't know if it was maybe midway through my first year, 3/4, I was like, this is not for me, And even I think back when I was younger in high school, my dad as a surgeon, he would take, a couple of times he would take me, you couldn't do this today, but he literally would take me into operations that he was doing. He took my sisters, he even took my wife and I when we were dating into different procedures. So we're, scrubbed out in the OR, like basically standing right there.
It's a whole different idea of taking your kid to work day.
What kind of doctor? Just just a bunch of different
thoracic
surgeries?
cardiovascular surgeon. So these are major surgeries, right? Like cutting people open.
And you're just sitting, and it didn't freak you out?
It did freak me out a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember, getting a little queasy one time, and the nurses are like, why don't you come out and sit in the nurses' room, the break room with us? And I'm like, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh my goodness. When you think about times have changed so much, it's impossible to do that now. Absolutely impossible.
Oh, no, you could never do that. I mean, I remember the one, I think it was my dad was taking out a portion or part of someone's lung. It was a smoker, and they had a big tumor in the lung, and literally takes it out, has it in like a tray, and he's cutting it open, showing us, here's the tumor and all this. And I'm just kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
But, having seen that, ton of respect for, my dad and what he did over the years, the work that he did. He was very busy. He went into work 7 days a week, He would have his patients, they had his home number, they would call him, his families and that kind of thing, which you don't see, medicine's changed right nowadays. But yeah, so I kind of going back, right, or going forward back to where was that for me? I think looking back on that and then into college just wasn't my passion. And I wasn't really sure what that passion was. And I took a course. My sister said, hey, take this elective. It's a great one, because she was a senior when I was a freshman. It was an elective. She took a geology course, and I took that, and I loved it. We went on the field, we did field trips kind of thing, and out in the field camps and other things. And so I was like, this is kind of a cool major. But what would I do with it? Well, maybe I could work in oil and gas or something like that. That sounds interesting. So I switched over to geology, and
that is really interesting.
And my dad, I remember the call to tell him.
I was just going to say, so how did this go? I want to switch
majors. Yeah. You know what? He was fine with it. He wasn't like, if that's what I wanted to do, he was happy.
Very supportive.
Both my parents, always very supportive.
Yeah.
Was the decision hard for you? Did you feel, I'm probably a little...
It's been so long. I don't know if it was that hard. Obviously, I think it was a little hard just because, you feel like you want to follow in your father's footsteps in a sense, right? But it was the right thing for me. I knew it. It wasn't my, drive to be a physician. So.
Yeah.
And is that what you ended up graduating?
So I graduated with a degree in geology. Never worked a day in it as a geologist. We can go into that.
Well, you graduate. So what's the dream there?
Like I said, I thought, I'll work in oil and gas or something there. Maybe I'll be out on an oil rig down in the Gulf or doing, whatever. And at the time, This was, I graduated in 86. The market wasn't really good in terms of jobs. There were a lot of advanced degree folks that were out there, so they wanted you to have a master's or something beyond, right? To really get a good job in that field. So I said, okay, that's fine. I can go back to school and get a master's degree. But it was at that point I thought, do I really want to go back and get a master's in geology? Or at the time, like MBAs were a big thing. So I thought, maybe I'll go into business. I'm kind of intrigued by business and accounting, finance type thing. And I applied to business school in Buffalo. And I started maybe 6 months or a year after I graduated with my bachelor's at the University of Buffalo, SUNY Buffalo, in the MBA program.
Oh, interesting. So how long were you there?
So I was there. It's a 2-year program. I went through about a year and a half, and then I decided with about just shy of a semester to finish that I was going to move to California because I missed my now wife.
Oh.
She had moved out to California.
So was this where the break was, or was the break?
The break was kind of right, shortly after I graduated in 86, between the time I graduated and when I started graduate school.
Got it. So let's talk about that break for a little. I
Absolutely
know
have to
Natasha
dive
has to go
through.
ahead,
We
Natasha.
This just gets
boy.
better. You followed her across the country. This is like for all the ladies listening. Okay, so
Yeah, the ladies love this part.
Give it to us, John. So what happened? What happened?
So I don't know. At one point, I forget how long, we weren't dating, but my wife had graduated. She was working in Buffalo. She's a nurse. She was working at the Children's Hospital there. And, we weren't dating, but we'd see each other or her friends, it's a small town, basically. It's not that big of a city, so you bump into people. But she had a brother who was living in California and his wife down in San Jose. And she had taken a spring break trip with some friends out to California. And she was like, I want to live in California. I want to work in California.
Wow.
So she decided, since we were broken up and, Buffalo's a small town, she's like, I'm ready to move. I want to try something different and go. So she moved in with her brother, took a job at Stanford Hospital, working in the neonatal ICU there. And so she was there, and we would, over the year and a half, I think, before, from the time she left and when I moved out there, it was roughly a year and a half, we would connect once in a while when she would come back to visit her family. But it was this one point, I remember having lunch with some of my buddies, and my really good friend, who was the best man in our wedding, we worked at a bank together while I was going to school back in Buffalo. And, I just said to him, I need to call Sue. I want to talk to, see if we can get back together again. So we did.
Wow.
So
And then made the decision,
before that happened, so it sounds like she was trying to move on. Like you guys at some point you're broken up. She's moving to California. She's like, I need the break. So was that by design, as Susan's listening to this, to get you to chase her to California?
I don't know.
She's just been living her life,
I don't think she was trying to get me to chase her in a sense, but she was like, well, I'm going to move on and,
Follow if you
do
want.
her, follow her.
And that
path,
sparked it,
right?
You missed her.
And I missed her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized, the grass isn't always greener, or just, it was like, I miss her,
Yeah. This is a love story.
Oh,
It is.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's a whole.
But I thought, could I see, because maybe you date other people, or you go out with other girls, you meet other girls. And I'm like, can I see myself at this age or getting older, sitting and having a conversation or enjoying it, maybe not, but with her I could. So
She's the one.
So how many fights are there about who you each dated in that year and a half?
Gosh. I try not to bring it up because I always lose. So
Thank you, Anthony, for making it about
you know what? I'm more the. I don't.
Nothing ever happened,
why
right,
go there?
John?
Why
Yeah,
go there?
nothing
right?
happened. It was a
why
quiet
go there?
year and a
I didn't
half.
really date anyone. That was kind of boring. I stayed home most of the time.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer.
That was my time to reconnect with the boys.
Okay.
Very
Are you
well
digging
played.
in?
Very well played.
Do you believe that?
Oh, absolutely not. But we'll let you have that one.
Well,
You're young. I mean, you have to. So it's good. It's a good story. You need time to grow
it was
be
necessary
yourself.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was really good for her too.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask her next time I see her. So
Please don't.
So you have 6 months left to graduate and get your MBA.
Well, yeah, I basically had like 3 courses left, which I kind of screwed up on my calculations and what I thought I had in terms of credits and things like that. But so it was like, okay, I should go back. But at the time I was thinking, I don't know what it was. It was just I was ready to move and head out to California, right? Buffalo is a great place, but the opportunities weren't the same. And especially being, 1990 back there, everyone looked to California. It was like the land of opportunity and all these great things in Silicon Valley and all, so I just said, you know what, I'll finish my degree at some point, which I never did. Which, talk about regrets. That's one of them. But I said, you know what? And again, it was going to be a year break, and I'll finish the degree, and I'll just go out and check it out for a while, and then maybe I'll bring Susan back to Buffalo with me,
Yeah.
But it never happened. So moved out to California packed up my car. A buddy of mine drove with me, and moved in with Susan and her roommate in their apartment in Mountain View until I found a job and got on my own and moved out with them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a couple parallel paths here. So now you're coming to California, you're going to have to get a job, but also you're reconnecting with Susan. So how long until you guys end up getting married from the time you get to California?
So I got there in January of 90. We got married in August of 91. So it didn't take too long.
Didn't take too long. So you guys both knew.
We knew. I joke with her like, when we got engaged on Valentine's Day of 1991, the next day I think she was on the phone with her mom and they had a wedding date and a place and everything. I was like, whoa, that was quick.
You're like,
Yeah, times have definitely changed.
Times have changed. Yeah. And 6 months later, we got married, but that was great.
And so what are you doing for work? So you have your degree in biology, working on your MBA.
Yeah, it took, just 3 credits short of my MBA, which is crazy, or 3 classes, I should say.
oh, I was like,
Short.
3 credits? I'm
Not
like,
3
it's
credits.
one class.
No, 3 credits. So what? I don't know if they were 3 or 4 credit courses, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, very close. So I was at I can't remember what the occasion of it was, a dinner with my brother-in-law's wife's family, her sisters, and her sister's husband. We got to talking. I just met him that evening and, whatever. Hey, John, what do you do? And we were talking. I said, I'm out here. I'm looking for a job, kind of look to get into business, accounting, finance type of thing. And, he said he was the CFO of a small defense contractor in Belmont, like San Mateo, Belmont area. And he's like, we're looking for some people. Here, give my controller a call. And so that was my first job.
Wow.
Went in, interviewed with them, and had a job, which was great.
And was it something?
Something I didn't even know what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
Because I worked in banking back in New York, in Buffalo, and I thought, maybe I'll do banking or something else. But this came up, sounded like a decent opportunity, interesting. There was a company that made threat warning, like basically threat devices or warning devices on aircraft, like helicopters and jets and things that basically let them know they're getting tracked or locked in by someone else's radar, right? So it's kind of a cool technology, cool company. I was hired into their government accounting and compliance group. So I had to immerse myself in government regulations, contracting regulations, the FAR, which is the Federal Acquisition Regulations, and all things government accounting, right? So totally new to me, but, to this day, and we talk about kind of career path, it was, believe it or not, it was what I learned there in 18 months and a lot of the connections and networks and friendships I made that got me to where I am today in terms of my job. Yeah. So, that's like, for my story, it's one of those things where I didn't really have this is what I wanted to do in life, but I kind of followed this path, and it was, it's weird. Things you you might learn someplace, or this experience or niche, expertise that you gain somewhere, you can leapfrog and kind of use that to build a career around.
And so it's always fascinating to me. There's very few people who know what they want to do at that age. Very few that we talk to. And so, when we have kids a similar age, I have that conversation. I'm like, try 1,000 things. Throw everything 100%. Against the wall and see what sticks, because you're building your foundation. And that's some of the advice I was like, take that first step and the path will open. And I can't remember where I heard that quote. That it's a quote. But so as this podcast has evolved, so, for those listeners that have followed us, it was Grandpa and the Millennial. And now it's evolved to, it's Tell Us Your Story in Northern California. And so we really want to talk to you about, we've heard where you grew up and how you got to where you were at with Susan and your wife, and how you started your career. So where are you at today? What is your role today? What do you do? And what does that look like?
So today I work for a software company, Oracle Corporation, and I work in the product development group, applications development specifically at Oracle, so our cloud applications. And I work in what we call our product strategy group. So I'm a director in our product strategy group, responsible for a lot of product direction in terms of working with our field sales groups, our customers, direct customers, partners, in terms of driving product direction. Like, what do we need to build into products? Where do we take it from a roadmap perspective, that sort of thing. And a lot of sales support, customer, engagement, those types of things.
And go ahead.
That's what I do. So I've been doing that. I've been at Oracle for 26 years now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if it was a climb to get.
Yeah, I mean, it was a progression, certainly. I've had, I guess I would say, kind of 3 main jobs when I was at Oracle. When I started, I worked in product development, very similar group, basically. A lot of the same people that I work with today, as a matter of fact. Kind of grown old at the company together. But I worked as a product analyst, and then shortly thereafter a product manager. So I managed a couple different application products, and did that for about 9 years. Then I decided I didn't want to leave Oracle, but I wanted to move into the sales organization to get a different perspective, right? And work kind of the upfront selling to customers. So I worked as we used to call a sales consultant. Now we call solution engineers and that type of thing. So
sales is really different than
it's different, right? It's different. Yeah. Exactly. And so it was a great experience. And I did that for almost 10 years, but it was a lot of travel. It was tough, being away when my kids were my older ones were kind of they're grown up, high school and that sort of thing. So, missing things. It was never extensive, like Monday through Friday travel, but it was a lot of
disruptive.
1 or 2 nights.
It's disruptive.
It's disruptive. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, I did that for 10 years. And then I decided I want to get back off the road, and I really missed the group I worked in. So I went back into there, and, they basically said, well, we'll find a spot. We'll create a position. And because of the background really that got me the job at Oracle, like I mentioned, was that first job I had, that knowledge of government contracting and stuff. So I work a lot with what we call our regulated industries, which is higher education, our healthcare customers, meaning mostly providers like hospital systems and things, and public sector, so state and local governments. And it relates a lot to the ones that receive a lot of government funding, government grants and things and contracts. So
it's a very storied career. And when we talk about Northern California, we're in the Sacramento region, and Oracle is a big company here, but they're a worldwide company.
Yes.
How many employees do you know off the top of your head? Yeah,
right. Well, within 5 or 10%, because we're about 80,000 employees now. When I joined, we were, I still know my employee number was 30696, so just under 31,000 when I joined in 1997.
Wow.
So a lot of growth.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just being in the Sacramento region, I talked to a lot of people that have either work at Oracle or they
Right.
worked at Oracle. We know of a lot of people that do. Do you know how many people in California, Northern California, work at Oracle, or how big they are?
Northern, I don't really know. My group is basically, I guess I would say, mainly out of our what used to be our corporate headquarters, which was in Redwood Shores. There's maybe, I don't know, guessing 10,000 people that work there. And then we have, some other smaller satellite offices, but Rockland was one of the larger offices in Northern California. When I moved up here in 2004, that was one of the reasons I came here, because we had a local office. And at that time, I think Rockland probably had about 1,000 people working out of here. And that fluctuated over time. But
That's a lot for Rockland small.
It was quite a bit, yeah. And then shortly after, when I moved up here, I know it's totally primarily a whole other side of Oracle than, no real development folks that work up here in Rockland. So I was kind of a fish out of water.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. I think there was one other guy from my group that worked here when I first came up here in 2004. But yeah, it's primarily, the main center of is down in the Bay Area. And, through the years, we've acquired different companies. So we have different satellite offices throughout the Bay Area. But outside the Bay Area, it's primarily, Rockland, I guess, would be the other main hub in Northern Cal.
Yeah, and go ahead, Natasha.
Are you, so in your position, are you a people leader? Do you have
I don't manage
report to
people.
you?
No, I used to, which is one of the things I kind of like in my role now.
Yeah.
So it's more, I work with my team is probably my broader team. When I say down from, our main VP who runs our group is about 20 to 30, 25 to 30 folks that work for her.
And are they all around
capacity.
here?
We're spread out all over.
Got it.
Some in California, East Coast, Midwest, you name it.
Everywhere.
A few in the UK and Portugal and others. So we're spread around pretty well.
And has COVID led to some of that spreading, as well as that opened up opportunity to live
I think
in place?
I would say we were pretty distributed before COVID, but it definitely has, where some people may have gone into an office at some period of time. We've shut down so many offices because, since COVID, that people now, I think the majority of my group probably work from home. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons.
It's changed quite a bit.
It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why we've changed our format and wanted to talk about, tell us your story in Northern California. So I want to hear individual stories like you, and then also highlight this is an employer in our state and in there's massive opportunity for people of all levels. So as you think about, like I said, we have kids the same. I have 25-year-old, 21, 30-year-old. As they're looking at their careers, this is a path. Like if someone wanted to come work at, Oracle or follow your path, what does that look like? Is it an easy, I wouldn't want to say easy path, but what are the opportunities for people who are looking at an organization like that? How do you get in? They come talk to John and say, "Hey, John, can you help me out here?"
I mean, because we're so large and there's so many areas you can work in at the company, I'll speak primarily from a development perspective. So there's probably, I guess, two main tracks within development. There's folks that are the engineering side, right, that have some sort of background in engineering or computer science, right, that are developers. And then there's I would say I'll just broadly say product management side of the house, which I'm a part of, product management / strategy, that is primarily focused on kind of the business background and understanding. So a lot of people have business degrees, accounting, finance, that sort of thing, right? Because at least from building software, you've got the functional side. So you got the folks that say, okay, I understand this is what the software needs to do. This is basically it needs to, what it needs to do, how it needs to interact with the user, that sort of the piece of it. And then we hand that off to our developers who go and take that and develop that into the actual code, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple different paths and how you want to get into. From my experience, a lot of us, they're accounting backgrounds because that's very fundamental to the group I work in as far as, what we call our ERP. So it's a lot of financial based applications, your core financials. I work in specifically around kind of our project financials, project management software. But there's other areas too. You might have a background in supply chain. So you could have a whole supply chain track that you come in. So you're either going to come in with some business or functional knowledge or expertise, right?
Yeah.
Or background, or, a traditional engineering developer background.
So it sounds like there's clearly a lot of different positions or jobs. How about opportunity wise? When you look through your career, would you say you've had a lot of opportunity to kind of pick your path and what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think so. And I've kind of done that, even though, I've kind of had three different, as I mentioned earlier, tracks that I went into. But at least for my company, there's a lot of opportunities, I feel, to kind of move around if you want to experience something else. They're always supportive, at least my management has always been supportive of, you want to go and work in another group, you want to learn something else, that's great, makes you a better employee, right?
Yeah.
And that was actually my motivation when I've been in development 9 years, and I figured out, hey, I've done this before. When I joined, we were launching a brand new product. So you go through a lot of pains early on with a new product that there's not a lot of expertise in terms of, and we were kind of a niche product, I should say. So I went through a lot of those pains of not only being product management and the development team, but in essence, we were support, we were consulting, and we wore a lot of hats because when you introduce a new product, there's not the knowledge base out in the field, right?
Yeah.
In that you don't have that ecosystem, right, to support it. So that was a tough time the first 3-4 years. A lot of late nights, 3-4 in the morning, getting stuff done, fixing, working with developers to fix bugs or whatever it was we had to deal with. Now it's a whole different ballgame. But at that time, we started to launch a whole brand new. We went from on-premise, right, type of applications, and everything's going to the cloud. It was at that inflection point where I said, I'm not sure I want to go through building a brand new product again and going through. I've done that, been there, done that. Why don't I go off and see, let's get the perspective from the front end, from the sales side. So that's what, got me into there. So to answer your question, I feel like I've had a lot of opportunities to try different things. As a large company, there's a lot of resources, right? In terms of career paths, and the company's really tried to focus, I think, over the last 5 to 10 years on developing their talent.
Yeah, keeping the bench strength.
Exactly. So, and that's important.
I'd love that we're able to highlight just people and then as well as organizations and things. So as you said you're 59, how much, don't want to put you on the spot. Is it another 15 years? Or do you have that plan? And if 15, you don't want to answer.
Wow, no, I don't. I hope it's not 15.
It's like, whoa, a little too much.
I don't have an exact time frame. It's a function of a number of things. I still enjoy what I do.
That's important.
Really good.
I got to say, you don't stay. I don't think I never envisioned myself being at a company for over 26 years now. And I always feel challenged. I'm impressed by the quality of the people that we have. So I still enjoy it. Right.
Good.
And I've got a pretty good. I know what I'm doing. I've been around long enough that I know my job. I know what I'm doing. So. I don't know how much longer. I think it really depends. I have a sophomore in high school, so he needs to get through high school. I don't want him to say my dad's retired already.
I think you're talking. I can hear you talking yourself into how long you're going to work right now.
But man, I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It won't be for at least another 3-4 years. But.
Good. So. This is where conversation is going to change. It's been different than all of our podcasts. We want to talk about Northern California, some of the fun things you like to do, some recommendations and things. So we're in the Rockland area, which is right outside of Sacramento. So I know some of the things you do for fun, but what are some of the things that you do for fun?
Well, number one, I love to golf. So I golf. We've golfed together, right?
So what's your favorite in this region? If you had to pick two spots? Where are people going? Which ones are you endorsing right now? Like,
As far as courses, golf courses. Well, I love Dark Horse up in Auburn, or Lake of the Pines, kind of right there. Yeah, that's a great course. And man, where else? There's a course. I'll probably butcher the name, out at Cache Creek, which is not exactly Rockland, but Yokadehi or Yochadehi.
I've been there. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's some great courses around here. Up in Auburn, you've got the Ridge and Dark Horse. And, there's a number of great tracks just around here, whether it's Timber Creek or Lincoln Hills or Whitney Oaks or, there's something for everyone.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
So are you golfer for score? Or are you golfer for fun? Are we out there taking shots, or is there a combination?
I'm competitive, so I like to shoot.
Did you golf together before?
Yeah, but our listeners don't know.
Oh,
they don't know. I'm competitive. I like to shoot well, right? But it's not the end of it. It's not going to ruin my day.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have a good time on the golf course. So, in my younger days, maybe not so much, but no, I just enjoy being out there. Right now, it's, as I tell my wife, it's just a great social thing. And I've gotten my boys at least, to start playing the game, because I said it's something you have for life. And it's really it's 4 hours you get to spend with good friends or meet new people or whatever that is. So there's that aspect to golf, I think, that's unique from other sports.
Oh, it's so much fun. And we have a fantastic group in the Northern California area that we golf with. So who's out of all of your friends, who's the best golfer? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, wow. This is being recorded.
Well, man, is it probably Jason?
Yeah, I would say Jason Woody. You know Jason.
I mean,
I didn't know
he's got the most talent and skills, I think, in terms of just hitting the ball and beautiful smooth swing. Yeah,
he's good. I can't keep score with the guy.
But when you bring handicaps into it, it has to be it has to be flow.
Oh yeah.
Because he goes out there and he shoots a low number and he wins the money.
Exactly. And then when we go on our golf trips, you have Becker, who seems to win everything.
Talk about Becker does pretty well.
I love it. As we start talking, introducing people, Natasha's
looking. You're going to meet these people. You're going to meet these people. Now.
But Natasha, this is again another great thing I think about golf. So it doesn't matter if you're a low handicap or high handicap, meaning a really good golfer, because you have this handicap or index system, you can all go out and play and kind of equalize it, right, through the strokes and what you have to give. So everyone of all levels can go out and play and compete, and usually the high handicappers take the money.
Have you golfed for a long time?
Yeah, I started golfing with my buddies when I think I was like 12 or 13.
Wow. Yeah.
Two of my friends, my two best friends started golfing, and they're like, hey, come on, you should come out and golf with us. And I'm like, golf? Yeah, okay, whatever. So went down to Kmart. No more Kmart.
Do you know what Kmart is?
I do know. I knew you were going to ask that. I do know, and you're right. I don't think there are
it was
anymore.
Like, remember the blue light special at Kmart? So I don't know.
Oh,
I went and bought because my buddies had done the same thing. They're like, go to Kmart, buy this set. And, a basic set, 3 irons or 4 irons or whatever it was, and a driver. And at first, before we were good enough to go out on a course, there was a park nearby, and we would just go out to this park and hit golf balls around the park. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. So I started playing, it's just for fun.
That's good for lifetime.
Yeah. I always tell people, if you're looking for a hobby where you can take the sport of golf away, like there's passion and fun. I just like hanging out with my friends and things like that.
Yeah.
Taking another question around Northern California, if you were to take your wife somewhere for dinner, where's the top 2 restaurants you're going to?
Such a hard question too. So this will be interesting.
That is hard because you know what we like Italian, so we love Via Roma. We like going to. My wife likes Il Fornaio.
Il Fornaio. Any of the Il Fornaios? Because there's a couple, right? There's one in Folsom.
I mean, the one I haven't been in Folsom, but we'll typically we don't go that often, but if we go, we usually go in Roseville near the Galleria. But we've been to the one like kind of downtown near Golden One Center.
Especially
that's a great spot. I love that. I like sushi. My wife's not a big sushi eater, but man, other restaurants, Chef's Table is great. There's a lot of options.
There are a lot of options, and
but I should say we don't go as much as we should in terms of going out as much. But those are some
So that's with the wife. What is it?
Yeah, with the
Same
wife.
list with the friends? Are you going out?
No, I don't know. We usually end up at the local watering hole,
CJ's, yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, but it can be.
There.
You
The
have or
podcast
have?
is
Oh,
there.
that's
Yes,
right. You
yeah.
guys did a podcast.
Yeah, we
And
did.
the podcast has been there. Yeah.
And so
Or it's Danny got me in. Danny Flores got me into this weekly 9-hole golf group every Tuesday. So, that's kind of the one day of the week that there's 30 some guys, right? So all different guys, young to old.
Wow.
And it's nice just doing the 9 holes and then hanging out afterwards, just chit chatting, having a beer or whatever.
Yeah,
so that's good
really
social
cool.
thing. Yeah.
Wow.
and I know a lot of those guys. So 30 guys were like, if we want to come have a beer on those Tuesday nights, where are we going? Like, we have a lot of listeners that might
Show up.
So
Crash.
we wrote the guy who runs the league does a great job. He does 3 10-week sessions at 3 different courses for the year. So we just finished up. We were playing at Lincoln Hills. We just finished up. But we've played Wood Creek, we've played Morgan Creek, we've played Turkey Creek. So he rotates it around every session, which is a 10-week session.
And is he? Who's he? Is he just manages the tournaments, or?
He plays in it. I was introduced to him. I didn't know him before I joined the league, which this was my second year playing in the league. And Danny and Woody, Jason, got me into the league. Yeah. But it was funny. Once I joined, I knew like 4 or 5 other guys that I had played hockey with. That was I stopped playing hockey for a few years just for various reasons, but that was my old kind of thing. Play, men's league, beer league hockey, and once or twice a week, and same kind of thing. After had fun playing, but it was the camaraderie, hanging with the guys, and afterwards having some beers and whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's a lot of people that listen to this that are looking. That's why we're asking these questions. We're changing it up, right? There's, you're talking. I can see the smile on your face, and it's every Tuesday night. There's this league within our community that other people can join, and there's probably multiple. But how we get the word out and how we highlight that, we'd love to do that.
No, it's true. That's just, those are my things that I did. But there's a lot of things, I think, just getting involved and finding something that you can find other people who enjoy whatever that is, whatever the activity is. And I've met some great people from it and enjoy, you look forward to it, right?
Yeah. And what else in our area, in the Sacramento, Rockland area, or even in youth sports, is there direction that you're like, hey, this is a really good program? Or
so, you know what, my kids, I have 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. My daughter she did, sports through school, growing up, but she was never an athlete and big into sports. She tried a lot of them, just wasn't her thing as much. But my boys all, played baseball, basketball, football. So we did from Rockland Little League to Rockland Junior Thunder to Hot Shots, and then high school and all that. So I love it. My youngest is still playing, his football, basketball, baseball. So I love doing that with him. I think it's great. That's one of the things I love about Rockland as a community. There's a lot of people really support the youth sports aspects, and there's a lot there to offer for the kids.
Yeah, we moved here just about 10 years ago when the youngest Donovan was in 6th or 7th grade, and my middle boy was a sophomore. And for those who are looking for great school systems, looking for support, just still see a lot of people in the community from watching them grow up. Like, this is a great area to raise a family.
It really is. Yeah.
There's, and then when you start to look at the surrounding areas is where the mall is, and then the different places you can go, the eateries. This is just a really good community. And then where we're doing our podcast now, we're at the Rising Zone, and Yvonne who put this together. There's just so many different connections that once you start having these type of conversations, you realize what a great community it is.
No, it really is. I feel like, you live in this little bubble of Rockland, and you don't venture that far out. You don't have to. Maybe a little bit in Roseville or Granite Bay or wherever that may be. But it's a great spot, especially for me coming from the Bay Area. How many years ago? 18 years ago. It was a great move, and primarily it was work, but also it was more motivated by just being in a great family area. Good place to raise the kids.
Yeah, so we're coming up on close to an hour now. So anything else you want to share with us, or any questions that you have?
Oh, put me on the spot. No, I'll let you. That's what I was just going to say. Any other things as far as, I guess actually I was wondering if your children, so you said your one's still in high school, but
Yeah,
you think the other ones branch out like you? Do they move across the country, or are they still here? You think they'll raise
You know
the
what?
family
So
thing?
my oldest, he's been in California. He went to school in University of Nevada. He went to Rockland High School in Nevada. Went down and got a master's down at ASU. But he's been working in Sacramento area. But he's actually going to, in January, relocate down to San Diego with some friends and got good buddies of his. So that's exciting for him. My daughter, she's the probably most adventurous in terms of just moving away and wanting to be out of California. She went to college at Xavier University in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
And she decided to stay there, got a job, works at a local TV station there, and is in Cincinnati. So we miss her, but
cool.
she's very independent and likes to do her thing. And then my middle son is a junior at UNR studying engineering, so he's still around. But even though he spends most of his time up there, And then my youngest is a sophomore in high school. So yeah.
Good.
It's a good mix.
It's a great mix.
Following their opportunities.
Good for you for having a sophomore in high school 59.
Yeah, that was, well, we didn't get there. That was a surprise.
What is that?
It took us about 6 months to even my wife and I, we actually found out she was pregnant. We were down visiting my parents, my mom and dad. I talked about, we used to sail in the summer. So my mom and dad, when my dad retired, or they retired, I should say, because my mom worked, even though it was at home, but they had a sailboat and they would live, 4 or 5 months in the British Virgin Islands on their sailboat. So we'd go down and visit them. And we were down there and my wife was not feeling good. And we were at one of these islands, and she went into the local, the little ship, just, what do you call it? Little store at a resort, and found a
Pregnancy test?
Pregnancy, yeah, thanks.
Still
a shock. Pregnancy test kit.
Denial.
Took the test, right, on the boat. She shows it to me, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh.
Right? And I kind of had a sense, because the way she felt,
seasick.
the only time she ever felt, yeah, that's right. You would think, okay, you're on a sailboat, maybe you're seasick. But the way she felt was, the only time she felt like that was really when she was pregnant before.
Yeah.
And it was funny because my oldest, I forget, he was 10 or 11 at the time, 10 years old maybe. And he saw the positive test thing, and he's like, Grandma's pregnant? And we're like, not Grandma, Mom. It was kind of funny. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, what a story.
But so that was kind of a surprise. It took us about 6 months. We'd just look at each other and go, I can't believe we're having another baby.
Yeah, you're due for some grandbabies now.
Yeah, that's a long way off.
Yeah, don't rush.
I don't see that in my immediate future. Not like, you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's one thing we're like, all right, kids, go out there, maybe start dating someone or something.
They're taking their me time, those breaks that they need.
Like the younger two, we can wait, but the older two, they can start move in that direction.
This has been a fantastic conversation, John. Anything you want to share with anyone that's listening about you, the family, Northern California?
Well, shoot, man. I mean, my family's everything. I love my family, whether it's my family back east, my immediate family, or my wife and kids. They're kind of my everything, right? Especially my wife. We've been together so long. Sometimes it feels like, are we buddies? We've known each other so long, but she's really, my inspiration, and pushes me to be better and always try to be the best that I am, because I can stray and fall, fall down every once in a while. But no, I mean, family is everything. I think that's really important. I was raised that way. Yeah. Family's important. Value those times and those relationships. You can't beat Northern California. in terms of the weather.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And just the opportunities. You know, you hear a lot about people leaving California, but at the end of the day, it's still, you know, at least this area. I think this area where we live is you know, let's not tell too many people about how great it is, right?
Yeah, just start flooding.
Because it is a great spot. But no, and then I think just overall, maybe from a work perspective, it's just kind of take advantage, learn from people. The more you learn, take chances, right? Take opportunities. Don't say no to an opportunity.
Yeah. Always take the opportunity.
Yeah.
Take it.
If someone
Always
offers you
say
something, you know, I there was a couple times in my career, as I progressed throughout my career, I was at Oracle, and 3 months later, my immediate manager, who was the product manager for this new product that we just launched, says, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere." And they're like, "Tag, you're it." And, you know, our VP said, "Hey, do you want the job?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And, you know, I walk out of there, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
What did I
right?
just do?
But there were times when I kind of hesitated and wasn't sure later in my career that, I don't know if I'm ready for that, right? And I learned pretty quick, well, if you're not ready, we're going to find somebody else.
Yeah, take the risk.
Take the risk. So, you know, value, network. I would tell you talk about it. I try to tell my kids, at least the ones that are working, hey, network, go out and meet people, take chances, do different things, right? You never know where that career is going to take you. Like, I didn't have a set path.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't, right? So be open, but always keep that network. You never know who you meet or what you may learn is going to, you know, somehow open a door down the road for you, right?
Yeah, and there's the old saying is don't burn any bridges. And
for sure.
You'd be amazed at how many people I've talked to are in my career that you know, you're working with someone and they end up being your boss at some point. I mean, maybe it's for a short stint, maybe it's for a long stint, but you don't know how things are going to work at work. They end up being a partner that you have a good relationship with or a bad relationship. Those relationships are all very, very important.
Intertwined.
No, that's for sure.
Thank you so much,
Thank you guys.
Sean.
Thanks for having me.